Ethereum is the preferred choice for Wall Street because it's had zero downtime since inception, matching what the banks want, 100% uptime. It's also the most legally compliant and secure blockchain because it's recognized in the US and it's the second largest blockchain. And the third is almost all of it is taking place on Ethereum. JP Morgan's building their stablecoin on Ethereum. Robinhood is tokenizing on Ethereum. The custody banks are doing it on Ethereum. So it's really where Wall Street meets, but that's also where AI is meeting crypto. Because as you know, as we tokenize and move towards robots, you need a token economy to control them, which is taking place on Ethereum. AI is meeting crypto because as you know, as we tokenize and move towards robots, you need a token economy to control them, which is taking place on Ethereum. So he thinks the ratio of Ethereum to Bitcoin could go back to its 2021 highs, which is about 0.14. That would value Ethereum today at around 16,000, and it's currently 3,700. So he's just saying Bitcoin ratio versus ETH, let's get back to where it was 5 years ago, which makes sense because it's a better story today than it was in 2021, and that gets you, close to 16,000. MicroStrategy has written the playbook for what a Bitcoin treasury is, and now he's so big he has a sovereign put, right? He has 600,000 Bitcoin. Any nation that wants to get 1 million Bitcoin probably thinks it's cheaper to buy MicroStrategy. The Ethereum treasury model, which is we're trying to be the MicroStrategy of Ethereum, works similarly, but we're at the earliest stages because if this is the 2017 moment for Ethereum at 3,700, it could make a move to 30,000 or more. On top of that, Ethereum pays you for providing network security by staking. That's a 3% yield. So BitMine owns over $3 billion worth of Ethereum. When we start staking and it's legally compliant, all within the US, that's more than $100 million of revenue. Of net income. So it's a profitable treasury company. And we've been able to grow our holdings of Ethereum from roughly $4 per share in 30 days ago to over $25 today. So it's adding about 80 cents to $1 worth of ETH every day.
Bitcoin is a leading indicator. What's it indicating now?
Well, Bitcoin has been 1 month ahead of the S&P at every step this year. In January, it peaked before the S&P. It bottomed before the S&P in April. It made a new high in May, a month ahead of the S&P. And in early July, on July 9th, Bitcoin had a breakaway upside move, gaining more than 10%. That means that in this month, I think the S&P is going to have a breakaway move to the upside, towards 6,600.
Interesting, which sort of takes us to where you think the S&P is going to be priced for the year.
Well, I think that at least 6,600 is a minimum because if we're making 6,600 in the next few weeks, then I think that probably 7,000 is a level we could touch by the end of the year.
Really?
Yeah.
What propels us to that?
Well, I think that three things are happening. One is the economy has survived tariff Armageddon, and it's probably strengthening because we know the ISM has been stuck below 30 or 50 for 30 months now. So finally, ISM could go above 50. The second is that we're getting closer to the Fed making a dovish pivot. I mean, they've been on hold for a long time, similar to how Kelly's birth is on pause, but that, I think, leads to a re-rate of multiples. And the third is that I think sentiment's still quite bearish. I think there's many of our clients that think we're going to have a recession because of the tariffs that started on August 1st. But I think businesses are ready to actually get through that. And that sentiment collapsing actually helps PEs.
Okay. Let's talk about Ethereum because I know you're very bullish on that as well. We'll get into BitMine in a second too, but Ethereum specifically, why is this something you need to hold in your portfolio?
Well, to me, Ethereum's having its Bitcoin 2017 moment again. And to give perspective, in 2017, Bitcoin was under 1,000, but that was the year when Wall Street discovered that the narrative of Bitcoin is digital gold, and Bitcoin has gone to 120,000 now, so 120 times increase. In 2025, a couple things are happening around Ethereum. The first is the Genius Act is now making stable coins kind of green lighted, which is the ChatGPT moment for crypto, but it needs a smart contract, so it doesn't work on Bitcoin.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And I come back with that video just to make you think.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Tom Lee says Ethereum is the blockchain for the machines. And we know that is a fact. Remember, Ethereum allows for those smart contracts, programmable money, where you don't need a human involved. And DeFi is definitely the new banking, and Ethereum is definitely the new internet. And we have Tom Lee says that Ethereum could get to 16,000. But guys, we know what we do. We watch the Fed. And then also Tom Lee says he wants to be the Michael Saylor strategy of Bitcoin. But remember how Michael Saylor got there. He got there through Morgan Stanley, Vanguard, and BlackRock, the big banks. And we know Bitcoin was the narrative in order to get us over to this new digital economy. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Trump gets Apple to invest $100 billion in manufacturing. And guys, we know no one wants these manufacturing jobs because you're going to be working with the machines. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And he says that he's going to put 100% tariff on these chips. But don't forget, Taiwan is basically the chip maker. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we know eventually China is going to get his hands on Taiwan. And that's going to start the drums get to beating. And then we have a 50% tariff on India. And of course, that's all about the BRICS nations. And majority of the components of Apple is made in India. But then Trump says they won't be affected. Guys, we know Trump works for who? That's right, the banks and the big corporations. And then we have Janet Yellen calls for rate cuts due to the labor market. And we know the only reason why they're going to cut because the labor market is getting weaker. Now, we know the labor market has already been weak, but now they can no longer hide the truth. Even though Trump fired the head of labor statistics, is not going to wipe out what's going on right now. And if you're part of the patrons, you know I've sent you layoff after layoff after layoff, and these were already scheduled for 2025 back in 2024. That's not including the new ones that we've received, and we know it's only going to pick up. And when you're talking about holidays, we know that's a lot of times when these corporations are hiring, they're going to be hiring less due to these tariffs. We can go into stores right now that normally have a lot of employees. They just don't have them. And you have boxes sitting in the house because they don't have enough people to actually stock the shelves. And who's going to be stocking the shelf eventually? That's right, these machines. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Mr. President, thank you very much for having me here today. You've been a great advocate for American innovation and manufacturing. I'm grateful for your leadership and your commitment. That's a commitment we share at Apple because American innovation is central to everything we do. Our products are designed here, we're hiring and growing here, and we support 450,000 jobs with thousands of suppliers and partners in all 50 states. Earlier this year, we made our largest ever spending commitment, $500 billion to the U.S. over the next 4 years. That's already yielding results. Earlier this year, we broke ground on a new factory in Houston to make advanced AI servers. And just last month, the very first test unit rolled off that factory's line, proudly made in America. President Trump shared some kind words about that work, but he also asked us to think about what more we could commit to doing. And Mr. President, we took that challenge very seriously. I'm glad to be here with you today, and I'm very proud to say that today we're committing an additional $100 billion to the United States, bringing our total U.S. investment to $600 billion over the next 4 years. As a part of this, we're launching Apple's American Manufacturing Program. It will spur even more production right here in America for critical components used in Apple products all around the world. And we're thrilled to announce that we've already signed new agreements with 10 companies across America to do just that.
Putting a very large tariff on chips and semiconductors. But the good news for companies like Apple is if you're building in the United States or have committed to build, without question committed to build in the United States, there will be no charge. In other words, we're not going to be charging. So a lot of countries, a lot of companies are leaving various other places and they're coming to the United States. So in other words, we'll be putting a tariff on of approximately 100% on chips and semiconductors. But if you're building in the United States of America, there's no charge, even though you're building and you're not producing yet in terms of the big numbers of jobs and all of the things that you're building. If you're building, there will be no charge. So I just want everyone to know that. And I didn't even tell you that inside. We discussed the concept, but I didn't. So it's a big factor. So 100% tariff on all chips and semiconductors coming into the United States. But if you've made a commitment to build, or if you're in the process of building, as many are, there is no tariff.
25% tariff will now be imposed on India. That brings the total tariff to 50%. All of that due to what the White House calls Russian oil purchases on behalf of India.
Most recent data strengthens the case for some rate cut going forward. Of course, the markets have long expected there to be some rate cuts. It's, of course, contingent on the data continuing to show that inflation's under control and based on perhaps seeing some weakening in the labor market. But
going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. We will, and if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books, is time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.